you may have heard about some meditation apps called, like, Calm's the big one. There's a couple different ones. The thing about those is they're great, but they generally, you have to have a subscription to them. So what I did was I went on a little quest for a app where you could do meditation and relaxation exercises that was totally free. And I found this one called Medito, and that's what I want to show you today. Just how to get it, what some of the features are. It's really helpful for sort of like guiding you in doing short or long meditations, especially if you find it difficult to meditate on your own and it's something that you want to do. So you should see my screen up there. As with all apps that we do, this is available on Android phones and also on Apple phones. So it should be available on all operating systems. Go to your Play Store or the App Store if you're not on an Android. And what I want you to do is look up, it's actually popping up for me, but Medito. And on an iPhone, you'll do it the same way, just in the Play Store. What it says on here for me is open, but it'll say download for you, and you're going to go ahead and add. Actually, if you click on it, I want to show you something on here too. If you just click on it, generally on other apps, it'll say if they're going to ask you to spend money on some element of the app, there'll be a thing on there that says in-app purchases. Like, see, Calm, that's the one that I was talking about. Just going to click on that real quick. Right here, do you see this? Right here, it says in-app purchases. And what that means is that there may be a free version of it, but the full version of it isn't going to be available to you unless you pay, basically. And you can look for that on any app that you download. Just keep that in mind. But what you will see on Medito is that is not on there, which is cool. And what that means is it's actually, they have a real strong commitment to remaining free now and in the future. And Medito is actually run by a foundation. So it's a nonprofit that does this with some help out of UCLA. But let's go ahead and open it. Actually, let me show you too what it looks like. So on mine, I'm going to go over. And this is the Medito app right there. It looks kind of like a little cursive M right here. Okay. Let me click on that and we'll get into it. You don't need a login or anything for this, so you'll have this just pop up directly. So there's a number of different things you can do with this, and I'm really impressed by sort of the range and the quality of the meditations and other tools on here, especially for something that is completely free. What you'll see on here is you have access to a daily meditation. So you can click on that if you wanted to do just a daily brief meditation. And what it gives you is it gives you two choices of narrators. So they have different voices, like Will's is more American and maybe the other way around. Stephen is kind of British, Scottish sounding. There's also some women on here too. It just happens that these two are the ones that do today's. And you can pick the duration of your meditation. So 3 minutes up to 15, actually it goes higher, sorry, 20 minutes. So whatever you want to start out with. So each of those is available to you. And what you can do too, click on the one you want and hit begin. There's a timer on here. So if you want to meditate on your own, you can set a timer that'll go off at 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 8 minutes, whatever you feel like. One of the things that I think is really cool is this sleep option. So there's a big emphasis within this app on helping you sleep, which I think is helpful. And one of the things that Calm has that everybody gets really into is this thing of sleep stories. And basically what it's like is it's somebody reading you a bedtime story. It's kind of like a guided meditation, sort of. So it's a story that sort of you're in the story and it helps you to relax and go to sleep. It's like if, you know, a parent was reading a bedtime story or a grandparent. So I think that's kind of cool. There's a bunch of those to choose from. So you can go to this folder that says sleep stories. And you can see I listened to this one called The White Stag, which was fun. It's like a white stag taking you through the woods. And they really are quite relaxing. You'll see there's a whole set of these that you can just put on and listen to as you're falling asleep. One thing to keep in mind as you do this, but right now we're using our sort of streaming services to play this. You need to keep this window up in order for it to keep playing. So that's one thing that's a little tricky. It's easier if you're like going to bed or something and you don't have a bunch of apps open. So just to just to keep that in mind, is you want to keep this open instead of closing the window in order to keep hearing it. One thing I'll show you though is if you download it, we're going to go back to this screen. You see this little button right here, or it's not a button, it's a icon. That's a download icon. So what that does is if you want to use this particular story or a particular meditation on a regular basis, you can click that button. And what it'll do is download that directly to your phone. And what that means is that once you've done that, it'll be saved onto your phone and you won't have to use up data when you're streaming it. So if there's something that you like in particular and you're going to use over and over again, that's probably a good idea. All right, so I just played it on here, and then too, you don't have to worry about closing the window in the same way. It'll run in the background of your stuff. So that's just something to keep in mind. So there's sleep stories on here. There's meditations specifically for sleep. There's meditations like if you have woken up in the middle of the night and you're trying to get back to sleep. There's a beach visualization. So there's a whole bunch of things to choose from just in terms of daily meditation and sleep-related relaxation tools. There's meditative music, so you can just play music to meditate to or just to relax to. So there's all these folders of different things. There's also nature sounds, so you can choose from 5 different nature sounds. And there's a way too that you can actually put some of these sounds in the background of the spoken meditation as well. And I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. So look, you could do wind chimes for 60 minutes. So if you are doing something and you want some sort of like white noise, some calming noise in the background, this is a good way to get them. So there's a couple of different like courses too. So you can do multiple sessions about mindfulness, about opening up your awareness, about gratitude, compassion. There's actually like a 30-day thing about compassion if you want to commit to like 30 days of meditation. And again, you know, it's whatever commitment you want to do. And you can leave and come back whenever you want. There's a little thing that tells you like your streak, like how many days you've meditated. If you're really into meditating every day, that might be a good way to calculate it. But I wouldn't, don't hold yourself too hard. It's like, it's not a big deal if you know, break your streak or something. There's another thing down here called packs that you'll see down at the bottom. So you'll see right here, it says pack, a terrible circle. So click on that and you'll find just a whole bunch more tools. So there's stuff about, there's that 30-day compassion challenge. There's a body scan, which is similar to what we did this morning in the writing workshop. There's a little bit of a lot of different things. So there's things that's actually about anti-racism and self-care, lots of things to choose from, more meditative music, just a really like broad library that I haven't even explored completely, but that is definitely worth looking at. And again, all of this is free. So, you know, you're not risking anything by going in and playing around with this app, which I really love. If you have limited data or if you're worried about using your data for something, you can always do that download where then you would be able to access the music or the meditation or whatever it is that you're trying to access while you're offline and you won't be using up data. And most of those downloads are relatively small. They're not huge files. So that's a good option. I want to show you some of the tools that you have in here with the daily meditation. So let's say we're doing this daily meditation and we choose Stephen's 3-minute meditation. And you see this thing here that says sounds. I think this is kind of cool. So what you can do is you can hit that button that says sounds. And what you can do is add like a background sound to it, because there's a lot of sort of, the body scan, she's talking most of the time, but some of these have silence where you're breathing or you're focusing on something. And it can be nice if you're into having sort of like a background sound behind it. So let's say we want wind chimes, and you can turn it up or down, and then you go back to the meditation and play the meditation, and he'll be speaking with the wind chimes in the background. So you can choose that as waves, nature sounds, things like that. So if that's a function that you like, that's one way to do it. And to change it up to, if you want to change the different sounds as you're going along. I really recommend like some of the sleep meditations and especially the sleep stories. I think it's really cool to have somebody just like tell you a story, you know, that's a fun thing. And they're very sort of nature centered and very calming and relaxing. And they seem to sort of always end with the person, the main character, who is you, falling asleep. So that can be helpful. I'm going to show you the website. So if you're on a laptop or a tablet or something and you don't necessarily want to download the app, all of this stuff is also accessible just via their website. So you'll see here, there's a meditate for free, donate button. You have access to the apps to download from here. What we want to look at right now, though, is meditations. Okay, we're going to click on that. All right, so again, it shows you where to download the app. And these are some of the courses, the introductions to meditation, meditation for sleep. It just has a little bit of a different format on the computer than it does on the app. Okay. And if you have the choice of voices, I recommend, I like Regina when Regina shows up, but that's just me. You know, you do you on whichever narrator you're into. I hope you can use this to sort of relax and meditate as much as you want.